Hey, what's up? What's up? It's your boy, Pastor Ron, and welcome to my podcast, Faith Talk with Pastor Ron. Hope everybody's doing well, having a good week, having a good day, having a good month. Yo, it's already, it's about to be June, end of May, June. My son's about to graduate from fifth grade, get into middle school. My other one is about to go into kindergarten. Like, time is flying. This year is flying. We're in month 6 of the new year, man. It's bananas to me, man, to see how time flies. And there's so much going on, but end of the day, God's faithful, right? God is God. God's on his throne. God never moves. God never changes. He's there. And I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so grateful for God, that it don't allow me to get discouraged or upset because my eyes are on God. So I'm so fortunate. I'm so lucky to be able to talk to you guys again. Please don't forget. I need you to do 2 things. Follow the podcast and comment. Follow the podcast and comment. These things mean so much. It takes 5 minutes of your day to do the following because it helps progress. It helps push the message out there. It's how these things work. So I can't do that by myself. If I would, I could, but I need your help. So please share it, follow, comment, share it, follow, comment, share it, follow, comment, share it, follow. Do all that and we should be good to go, right? So today I'm going to briefly just share this message with you and share this lesson with you. This past week was Mother's Day, and I talked to my church about Sarah, the mother of Isaac, the wife of Abraham. I talked about her, I gave a quick synopsis of her journey, and I talked about how God spoke to her, and she had a moment of weakness. Her and Abraham had a moment of weakness. So God came to them and said, Abraham, you will be the father of many nations. And that's in Genesis chapter 12. And that sounded cool, but the tricky part about it is that Sarah was barren. Sarah couldn't have any kids. And when she couldn't have any kids, they listened to God and I guess they believed God. But 11 years had passed. 10 years had passed without nothing. No baby, no miscarriages, nothing. Abraham received the word from God at 75, and Sarah was 65. And then nothing happened. Nothing happened. They continued to, do whatever they wanted to do or had to do, and again, I guess believed in God and trusted in God, but there were no fruits. There was nothing to help them see like, okay, we're about to have this baby. Again, Sarah could not have children. She was barren, So first of all, she probably had a lot of social attacks and social anxiety because of being barren. Around that time, and I think even to this day, those people that couldn't have babies, I think now, if I'm honest, a lot of the time when folks couldn't have, like women who couldn't have babies who are barren, I think in 2024, there are more victims. There are more people who are sympathetic and praying for them and like, oh my God, I can't imagine how she feels. She could adopt. But during that time, being barren was like a curse. Socially, they were looked down upon, like because during the time, that was your purpose, right? That was the reason why you were here. It was to have a baby. So if you cannot have a baby, so what's the point of you being around? Like that's literally what they like. What is what do you do if you can't have any children? So they were often frowned upon because of their behavior. And so they spent 11 years waiting on God. 11 years, bro. Like I can't wait on God for 11 minutes. I need God to give me the word and to act upon it immediately. But 11 years of them waiting on God, and nothing happened. And in their moment of weakness, in their moment of doubt, I would say, they decided to enlist their servant Hagar And Sarah said to Abraham, yo, go to our servant Hagar and have a child with her. Obviously, I can't have any kids. And God said that you're going to be the father of many nations. So let's help out God, and let's use Hagar to be the one to bear you children, because obviously I cannot. And so at 86 years old, Abraham had his first son by the name of Ishmael with his servant Hagar. And Ishmael is the father, for you Bible nerds and historical nuts, but without going into it too deep, but Ishmael is the father of the Muslim faith and the Arab countries. Despite Ishmael not being the first son with Sarah and Abraham, God still made sure that a promise over Ishmael came forth. So Abraham had the materialistic, the worldly promise, and Isaac had the spiritual promise. This is why in the Muslim countries, in the Arab countries, you see oil, you see so much money in these countries because of the promise over Ishmael. There's very few, if any, Arab countries that are poor. They are naturally have a source of money. The oil is in their land, and various other resources and materials are in their land. This is why they have so much money in countries like Saudi Arabia and Dubai, etc., etc. It's because of the promise of over Ishmael. But, we're not going to talk about Ishmael and the Muslim faith, but I want to focus on Abraham and Sarah. I call Sarah an unexpected mom. Like, she had no aspirations of being a mom, because when you look at her situation naturally, that child would not come to pass. And we get like that sometimes. I get like that sometimes, where God gives you a word and you are supposed to walk by faith, but time passes and days, months, weeks, years pass, and things do not look like the way it's supposed to be. There's no, confirmation. There's no hope. There's no change. Like, God gives you the word, and it's just like sit on the word and wait, and it's tough, right? And this is why God promised in Isaiah 40:31 that those that wait on the Lord, he will give you strength, because he grasped the fact that waiting on the Lord could be is something that requires a level of strength from God. Because if not, you're going to fall. If not, you're going to give up. If not, you're going to quit because waiting is so difficult. There are going to be times in your life that all you're going to have from God is a word. There are going to be seasons in your life that all you're going to have from God is a word. There's going to be no fruits, no benefits, no growth, no deliverance, no change. All you're going to have from God is a word. No cheerleaders, no one supporting you. And sometimes you don't even believe it yourself that all that you're able to carry is a word from God. All you're able to carry is the promises from God. So we're sitting here and we're looking and we're like, yo, all they had was a word. And they had a word from God in Genesis chapter 12 that Abraham will be the father of many nations. But nothing around them makes them think the word is going to come to pass. So, like, as much as we try to attack or criticize Sarah for what she did, like, I get it. Like, I get her sitting here like, yo, Abraham, go sleep with Hagar, man, because I'm just old. I'm past menopause. I've been barren for 85 years. And, might as well just do this to allow this to come to pass. Like, I said on Sunday, her intentions were good. I think Sarah had good intentions. Sarah meant well. Abraham meant well as a way to figure out and thinking outside the box of trying to get this to come to pass. And that's what happens to us a lot in our waiting season. As we wait on God and things become difficult, People come into our ear, people who are close to us, people who are praying with us, our pastors. You get a sermon, you get something that encourages you to, like, quote unquote, think outside the box. Let me try something. Let me help God. Because obviously this is it's getting too late, or it's God needs to hurry up, and God obviously needs me to get involved, right? We often tell ourselves God helps those who help themselves. Closed mouths do not get fed. We tell ourselves things like this in order to rationalize us helping God, us being more active. When you wait on God, it doesn't mean that you are helping God. Waiting on God means that you are preparing for your blessing. A lot of times we believe waiting on God requires us to sit here and do what God wants us to do. No, waiting on God means that as I wait on God, I'm preparing for what He has for me. I'm not helping God. I'm not trying to be God. I'm not trying to do God's job. But my faith in God and me actively waiting for God is preparing for my blessing, preparing what I'm praying for. I believe that God has said you're gonna own a home. What does Ron do? Ron fixes his credit. Ron starts saving some money. Ron downloads the Realtor app to look to see if any houses pop up. Ron talks to a loan officer, gets in touch with a realtor. These are the things that you must do in order for you to actively and wait the way the Lord asks for you to do. Waiting for God does not mean that you are sitting here and you are taking God's place and you're trying to figure things out. And a lot of us, the reason why we're like this, because that's all we know. Like, all we know is to figure things out. We don't have help. I come from a line that a lot of what we do, we got to figure out. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, or I didn't come from a rich family that had a lot of resources. I came from a blessed family, but not a rich family. So a lot of things that we do, like, you have to figure it out. I've been working since I was 17. That's 28 years of my life I've been working. That was out of work for 2 years, right? 2 years. I was out of work. 2 years out of work. So I'm sitting here outside of that from 17 to I'm going to be 45, Lord willing, in September. I've worked. Because if I want something, I have to get it. So many of us, especially like us immigrants or coming from immigrants, we have just a mentality, like an approach where it's like, yo, I need you to figure things out. I need you to tell, get busy. You can't just sit here and sit on your behind and do everything. Like, what are you doing? And this, what are we doing, often turns into us helping God. What are you doing should be preparing for it. Okay, God said, I'm having a child. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to start picking out clothes, picking out names. Whenever that child gets here, I'll be prepared. I remember we were praying early on in my marriage. We wanted to have a child, and we thought, all you got to do is have sex and kids come, and it wasn't that simple. We sat there, we were having sex and doing everything, and nothing happened. So like, yo, what's going on? And my wife, she had different things going on with her body that made it even less likely for her to have children. And we were like, yo, this is crazy. So then we sat there, and then eventually we prayed and we fasted and we gave and we did whatever we were supposed to do. We trusted God. And eventually that child came. And weeks later, my wife had a miscarriage. God took that child away. And I was like, yo, dang, that's crazy. Like, that's messed up. Like, me, God, I'm sitting here preaching for you. Like, how can you do that to me, dog? That's messed up. But eventually we sat there as we were crying and we were waiting on God. God sent a prophet, and the prophet said, I see a baby coming. And then we said, okay. So then what we did was we bought children clothes. I want to say we bought clothes for a girl and a boy. But even before anything happened, we believed, we prepared for it. We believed in God, and we had an act of faith. That as we waited for God, we prepared for our child to come, that we bought clothes for our child. And months later, we had our first son, Noah Isaac, right? And the reason why we called him Isaac was because The word Isaac is like God. It says like he who laughs or she who laughs. And when we heard that prophecy, I believe the prophet said, or the pastor said, that God's about to make you laugh with your Isaac. He's gonna bless you and make you like, yo, shake your head and laugh. And granted, that's why we call him Noah Isaac, because we didn't believe it. We had our faith was low, but God made us laugh. God made us smile with our firstborn child, about to be 11 years ago. So preparing for God does not mean I'm doing God's work. Preparing for God means that I'm prepared. Waiting on God does not mean I'm doing God's work, but waiting on God means I'm preparing for the blessing. I prayed for it; it's going to come to pass, and that's a level of believing in God. But Sarah messed up, and she resorted to self-help. Ishmael and Hagar are symbols of self-help. Of God, you're taking too long, so let me figure something out. And that's not faith in God. Faith in God is saying, regardless of how long it takes, I'm going to trust you. Faith in God means regardless of how tough things are going to be, my faith is going to be in you. And that is what is needed to grow. That is what's needed in order for us to get to a place to see God. And if you look at the book of Genesis chapter 17, you see the birth of Ishmael. Like I said, Abraham was 86 years old. If you go to the very next chapter 18, it says Abraham was 99 years old. 99. Which means that God didn't speak to Abraham for 13 years. Likelihood was because he did not have faith in God and did not wait on God and resorted to self-help. He resorted to saying, God, listen, I got this. And a lot of us do that. Like God said, God tells you and gives you instructions, God, I'm going to give you a husband. Just wait on me. And instead of you getting your weave right or getting in the gym and preparing yourself and going through magazines and figuring out tuxes and going through the next step, saving your money, you sit here and go to the club. You sit here and go here, God. But are you following the instructions of God? If God said go to the club to find your husband, that's a different situation. But if God said, listen, I want to bring him to you, just wait. That doesn't mean go to the club. That means just wait on God. And what's blocking your blessing, what's blocking your Isaac is self-help. Because one of the things that God told Abraham and Sarah to do was that they had to leave. They had to, in essence, tell Ishmael and Hagar to leave the house. So God is not going to bless you until all the self-help in your life is gone. What's blocking your blessing, what's blocking your Isaac, what's blocking your promise is that you're still holding on to things that you created yourself or that you did yourself. Ishmael and Isaac can't be in the same house. Ishmael is self-help. Ishmael is a symbol of a lack of faith. Ishmael is a symbol of not waiting on God. Ishmael has to leave in order for Isaac to get there. I think a lot of you are holding on to your self-help and thinking with your own power, with the expectation that God's going to add to it. No, God's not going to add to it because he didn't follow directions. So Abraham and Sarah had a moment of weakness, and the fact and their lack of faith did not simply come forth or was not only expressed through a place of doubt and complaining, but their lack of faith was expressed through them trying to help themselves by trying to do things out of their own power, by trying to do things out of their own might and boxing out God. So you gotta trust God, man. Like I get it, man. I've been through it. I've been through those times where it's hard. It's not easy. Excuse me. When it's not easy, but you have no other option to trust God. Because you're at a point, many of you are listening right now, you're at a point where you can no longer delay your blessings. You can no longer delay what you've been praying for, delaying your time. Like you're too old to be waiting. You're too old to be waiting for a husband. You're 47. But what's blocking you is not God. It's that you don't allow God to be God. Some of you guys beefing with you because you did not exhibit in faith. You did not exhibit any faith when it came to him. You just did everything in according to your power and your might. And I get it. I get it 100%. But I also understand that we need to wait on him. I also understand that without waiting on him, we're not going to succeed. I also know by taking matters into our own hands is also going to cause God to not speak to us and be upset with us. Sarah had good intentions. I think Sarah had a good heart. Like, she meant well, but it wasn't the will of God. God does not judge your intentions. Like, he don't care if you mean well. He wants to know what you did, right? Oh, she meant, she still have faith, but she just wanted to make sure that the promise get fulfilled. But God said, that's not what I said. And many of you, God is saying, that's not what I said. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? You don't need it. I don't need help. I need you to obey. I need you to have faith. That promise that you're waiting on God for, that word that you said, God, it's time for it to come to pass, and that job, that marriage, that child, that ministry, that level of growth, that finishing school, God said, trust him. God said, I don't need your help. I don't need your self-help, because in essence, you're not helping God, you're helping yourself. It's self-help, not a God help. You try to mask it as if you're helping out God, but the fact is you're really helping out yourself, because you can't wait. Like Haitians say, sans chaud, pas qu'à ton. So you do what you want. Like, you get so, like, you can't wait anymore. So instead of waiting, you say, I'll do it myself. And God said, that's not me. That's not me. So Sarah had a faith that was shaken. And a lot of times our faith gets shaken in the waiting process, and you're not seeing anything around you. You see people around you having kids. That happened to us. Like, when she had a miscarriage, we had friends and family who were having children. And we're like, man, like, when is it going to be our turn? When's going to be our moment? And it could be like other things. It could be like, I know after my mom passed away, I was like, God, like, my faith was shaken. Like, this doesn't make any sense. This is not fair. Like, when is my turn? Like, why am I going through this? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, when is my turn to have a testimony and overcome and have a great story? I see everybody else's mom getting through stuff, not mine. So you get frustrated, you get upset. Your faith is shaken. Your faith wavers. But then you go back to Isaiah 40, verse 31. I'm going to say it again. Those who wait on God, he will strengthen your faith. He will give you strength. He will give you strength because he understands that it's not easy. And many people don't faint in the prophecy or the word. But people don't faint. I mean, sometimes you can faint in the manifestation. It could be so big that you pass out. but most people faint in the in between, in the process, in the waiting season. The waiting season. So, Abraham had a moment of shaken faith. Their faith was shaken, and it was exhibited in that they could no longer wait on God. And they decided to take matters into their own hands. And this caused God to be silent. This caused a delay in their blessing. And I completely understand, because of your faith being shaken right now. As you look around, you're like, yo, God, where are you? You look around and it's like, yo, those who, everybody else is getting blessed. Those that don't go to church are being blessed, and I'm not being blessed. Those that don't minister are being blessed, and I'm not being blessed. Like, what's going on here, God? But at the end of the day, I want you to hold on to God and trust God. And know that God has the ability and power to deliver you from what you're going through. I want to encourage you. I want to push you. I pray this podcast just blesses you. If it does, again, please just drop a comment, a couple of comments. Give me some feedback. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. You know where to find me. But either way, please make sure that you continue to push this encouragement and support me. This message I want to get out. So share with a few friends, those that you know that are going through things, or those that you don't know, because other people are suffering in silence. It could be a leader, you know, and like I said last podcast, as a leader, you're like, yo, I can't let people know that I'm going through things, but they're going through times of shaking faith. Listen, I've been in a season as a pastor, and I might be in that season right now. My faith is shaking, and I'm crying at the feet of God, like, God, where are you? So I get it. So send it to somebody, and I pray that encourages you. But either way, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. God bless you. I love you. Peace.